Hey, folks, did you know that this coming Tuesday, I will be the MC for a town hall in Philadelphia with President Trump? Really looking forward to that. Gonna be fun. Now, as you know, Pennsylvania is one of the key battleground states, and the winner of that one state may well determine the outcome of the entire election. Now, I get asked, several times a day, how do I think it's going to turn out? Well, my honest answer is that if the election is straight up, honest, and there aren't any issues of phony mail-in ballots, illegal immigrants being allowed to vote, and if we have complete election integrity, I honestly believe President Trump will win in what may be the biggest electoral college landslide since 1984. But that said, I'm nervous and cautious because the attempts to cheat are stunning, and the ongoing lies from the Harris-Walz campaign in lockstep collusion with the corrupt media make me realize that every vote will truly matter. Now, I don't care how long the lines are to vote. I would say to you, go vote. Frankly, I'd rather stand in line to vote than elect people whose policies will cause me to stand in line just to buy a loaf of bread someday. So stand in line and go vote. Don't mess this up. I can tell you from my political experience that last-minute, late-date lies are legendary in desperate campaigns, but it's always a telltale sign that a campaign sees that it's losing and resorts to last-ditch lies to try and sway gullible voters who might not even realize they're being played for chumps. If some so-called bombshell story breaks just before an election, I'd caution, be slow to give it any credibility, especially if the source is anonymous or clearly biased. Take, for example, the story this past week in The Atlantic by a Trump-hating writer who says that Trump liked Hitler. On its face, that's absurd. But if Trump really likes Hitler, or as some Democrats claim, he is Hitler, then here's a question. Why is it that a number of Democrats are clinging to their Senate or House seats by running ads tying themselves to Trump? Yeah, Democrats trying to pretend that, hey, I'll be supportive of some of Trump's policies. So does that mean they like Hitler too? Do these Democrats like Bob Casey from Pennsylvania or John Tester in Montana who see Trump winning in their states, do they really want to side with Hitler? That's election desperation at its worst for the Democrats to try and invoke words like fascist, dictator, or evil to Donald Trump. And the owner of The Atlantic is one of Kamala Harris's closest friends. And the supposed source of the story is a person that Trump famously fired and has remained bitter about it. Now, I say supposed source because most of the article is based on the ever-ready anonymous sources. Yet numerous people who are actually in the White House with Trump, including, by the way, my own daughter, dispute that he ever said disparaging words about the military, and in fact, he had nothing but the highest respect for them, not only in public, but private settings. Frankly, I believe my daughter far more than these cowardly critics who hide behind their anonymity to make ridiculous and refutable allegations at Donald Trump. If they really believe that Trump was so evil, why did they wait until 14 days before the election to suddenly recall these things? It just doesn't pass the smell test. It just smells. And remember that supposed joy that Kamala Harris spoke of and which was touted by the joyless ladies on The View or by Oprah? I've decided they ought to rename the show The View and they ought to call it The Pew since it stinks to high heaven. Whoa. Whew. A chorus of angry, irrational, and crazed women who are the personification of the phrase, hell hath no fury like that of a woman scorned. It is a table of foul and furious females who come across like a circle of ex-wives spewing their bile of their lives and demonstrating quite effectively why they are indeed someone's ex-wife. That's what they come across. Let's face it, if you're watching the Harris campaign, the joy is gone. It's been replaced by rage and random tirades. While Donald Trump has fun taking a shift at McDonald's or hanging out at the Bronx barbershop, Kamala is telling a couple of young men who shout that Jesus is Lord that they're at the wrong rally. Indeed, they were. Hey, let's be real. Kamala claims she once worked at McDonald's. Fine. If so, that would be the only private sector job she ever had. Only one. And here's something I wonder. Why won't a reporter ask the simple question to prove whether she was at McDonald's? Madam Vice President, which McDonald's was it that you worked at? You know, if there is a campaign exhibiting real joy, quite frankly, it's the Trump-Vance team. They're unfazed by the cheap shots, both figurative and literal. And they're answering real questions with real solutions. And here, this is right here, the real reason you ought to feel good about voting for Trump. Because I have it on good authority that when he worked that shift at McDonald's, he did something that no one else has seemed to be ever able to do. He fixed the ice cream machine at McDonald's.